Hey everyone, thanks so much for coming out. We're going to get started in probably about 2-3 minutes. But in the meantime, if you're here already, if you can share with us your name and anything else about where you're from or your title in the chat, that would be great. Give just like one quick more minute. I know some people are trying to gather their lunch and whatnot to come, so we'll just wait just one more minute before we begin. Okay, wonderful. I think we can start now. Just so everybody knows, this recording is, this training is being recorded. So let's get started. Thank y'all so much for coming out this afternoon to share a little bit and learn a little bit about the ASQ-3, which is the third edition, the Ages and Stages Questionnaire, and to learn some things about the online platform. My name is Dr. Teresa Northington, and I am the Developmental Screening Coordinator for the state of Louisiana here at the Bureau of Family Health, and I will be giving this training today. As we go through the training, if ever you have any questions, please drop them in the chat or in the Q&A section, and I will try to get to them toward the end of the presentation. Let's see here. Just a quick disclosure, I, Teresa Northington, faculty for this educational event, have no relevant financial relationships with ineligible companies to disclose. All right, here we go. Let's get started. So to begin, let's take a quick look at the overview for today's training. We will begin with an overview of the ASQ-3 and general development. From there, we'll proceed to the ASQ-3 online platform and its uses, followed by a look at how we can implement the ASQ-3 into your practice using the online platform and paper form as well for the screening tool. Lastly, we will take a few minutes at the end to go over some resources and answer any questions that y'all might have. Okay, so first we're going to begin with why screen for developmental, for general development. So on the path to healthy and appropriate development, periods of assessment are paramount. These assessments help inform the child, family, and healthcare workers about the needs of the child. In Louisiana, 30% of children are at risk for developmental, behavioral, and social delays compared to 26% nationwide. And 4.5% of all children in Louisiana have early intervention plans compared to 5.3% nationwide. These statistics help us see that screening for general development and other developmental delays are needed. When we screen accurately, timely, and with validated tools, we provide early intervention services. We can improve outcomes for children, families, and communities here in Louisiana. And one way to do this is by giving and administering the ASQ-3 screener. So what is the ASQ-3? The ASQ-3 is a 30-item questionnaire used to identify children from 1 month to 5.5 years old who might be at risk for developmental delays. And just a little tidbit in there, we're just identifying risk here with this screener. We're not screening for a diagnosis. We're just kind of starting the initial process, and that diagnosis would come with a formal evaluation after risk is identified. In the ASQ-3, it screens for 5 developmental areas, which you will see them mentioned as domains. And the domains are communication, gross motor skills, fine motor skills, problem solving, and personal social relationship skills. This document is available in English, Spanish, French, Vietnamese, and Arabic, and it was written at a 4th to 5th grade reading level, so it could be easily used by a lot of different parents and caregivers based on, their needs. The screening tool has been recommended by the AAP, which is the American Academy of Pediatrics, and is also considered reliable and validated for use. And another little tidbit there is that it's also reimbursed by Medicaid. So now that we know a little bit about what the screener is, we will continue on with when to use it. So we know what it is, now we'll see when to use it. So to know that, we have the Louisiana Developmental Screening Guidelines. And within the guidelines, you'll also find the periodicity schedule, which indicates the timelines to give screenings recommended by the AAP. For general development, it is recommended that the ASQ-3 be given at the 9, 18, and 30-month well-child visits. In the graphic, you can see first up is the general development domain, and it has a little X mark where the well-child visits are that kind of coincide with the screener. And a little bit more information about when to give it is that it can't only just be given at the 9, 18, and 30-month marks, but there's some more wiggle room in there. In addition to those well-child visits, the ASQ-3 also has separate screeners that can be given every 2 months or 3 months, depending on the age of the child. So in this, the graphic to your right, you'll be able to see from 2 to 25 months, the ASQ has separate screeners that can be given every 2 months, like 2, 4, 6 months. And this is really great for parents who come up with, they may have concerns about development of their child, but their child may only be 6 months old. So instead of waiting, or 4 months old, instead of waiting till that next visit at 9 months, they're able to get another screener, which would be if they're at 6 months or 4 months or whatever it might be in between those two, from 9 to 18 or 0 to 9, they'll be able to get that screen every 2 months, and kind of either can request it or you can provide it to them after you have heard their concerns. So that's really great. And it also continues then from 26 to 39 months, where those screeners can be accessed for every 3 months. So 26 months, 29, 32 months, etc. And lastly, from 40 to 66 months. They're a little bit less frequent at every 6 months, but they're also available as well. And at the bottom, you'll see a little link there. If you or the caregivers want an easy way to figure out which screener can be given, you can log on to that site, and it's a calculator. So you put in the child's date of birth, and it will tell you the exact screener that they should be using on their upcoming visit or at that time. So now we know when to use it and what it is. And let's take a look here at administering it. So you can administer the ASQ-3 in 3 steps. But I would suggest before you even start step 1 to kind of do like a little pre-work. So that would be before the child and the family or the caregiver, they arrive to your clinic, your office, that you use that ASQ calculator to get that prep in and just kind of already identify which screening you would want to use. So the screeners look like this here, and this is a 24-month questionnaire. And you just want to put that date of birth in that calculator and have that screener ready. So when that parent, the caregiver walks in and with whatever other information that you're going to be requesting that they fill out, you can have that screener already ready, and you don't have to wait and see what the date of birth of the child is, but you can already have it set to go for them. So then you move on to step 1. And step 1 is to have the parent and caregiver complete the questionnaire. So you give it to them. They can sit right in that waiting room and fill it out. And the questionnaire, of course, consists of 30 items, and they each have 3 simple responses of either yes, sometimes, or not yet. And I've also seen this questionnaire also generated in a fillable PDF. So if you want to give it that way as well, if they have like a tablet or something like that, just to make sure that it is clear as possible with the results and the if they want to write anything or anything like that is legible, easier to to read, you can access that as well. So they fill it out and they give it back to you. And then you move on to step 2, which is to score the questionnaire. And to score the questionnaire, you will use it's like a point system. So for each yes response, you'll give 10 points. For sometimes, you'll give 5 points. And for not yet, you'll give 0 points. And this is to be calculated for each domain. So there are 5 domains that are going to be assessed on the questionnaire, and you'll calculate the points for each one, for each domain. And then you'll compare them to the cutoff scores that are located on the last page of the questionnaire, which is called the information summary page, to determine if risk has been identified. So once you do that, whoever is going to be responsible in your clinic, your practice for scoring the questionnaire, of course, they're going to then pass that along to the physician or the nurse practitioner to start with step 3, which would be to share those results with the family. And once you are ready to do that, the nurse practitioner or the physician at your practice will share those results with the family once the scores are compared to the cutoff scores for each domain. And then they will be able to discuss each domain with the family, and if needed, be able to kind of give them a little bit more insight into that score. And just to reiterate, at that point, even at the results point, it's not to identify or to say that there's a diagnosis being given, just to identify risk. Okay, so after that, of course, then we would go on to giving those results. And then if we see here that the child is at risk, we'll follow up with those referrals and possibly with some referrals for further evaluation. And then all those documents I would hope would be put into the patient record for, next visits, or if they need to be transferred over to a different department or for evaluation purposes. So this is what it would look like on step 3 when you are scoring it. So the bar graph over there shows that you can clearly see where the star is. Those are the 5 domains. And then where the green arrow is, it shows you the score. So once you calculate the score for each section, you will see either it's going to fall in the white, which shows that the development is on schedule. The gray, which shows that it's kind of like a close call, and you might need to monitor to see if it's going to kind of increase or decrease. And then the black, which is risk for developmental delay, and further evaluation is required. So each of them will have a different, they have a different line item there, and that's where you will put the score, and you can share that with the families. Okay. And now that we've seen how that tool looks like on paper, so that's a paper version, we're going to move on to see what it looks like in that online platform. So the ASQ-3 tool is widely used in its paper form, and today we'll take a look to see how it can be used in the online form. So we'll see here, just wanted to share with you a quick little QR code up there. So if you want to scan, let me move myself out the way there. If you want to scan it, it'll take you directly to the ASQ website where you'll be able to see about a 20 to 30 minute demo previously recorded of what the ASQ platform actually looks like. In our webinar today, we don't have quite the time to show the whole site and to show the video, but at any time, of course, it is free for you to go to the website and to take a look at that demo if y'all want to see a little bit more in detail what the actual site looks like. But today we're just kind of go over it in general. So that platform is going to be something that was definitely going to save you time. And the ASQ Online can actually help raise screening rates by using that online platform. It can empower parents to fill out the ASQ online or anywhere from any device that's like a smart device, which is going to definitely boost that completion rate and overall accuracy. The online tool can also streamline your workflow by saving you time, paperwork, and it can also reduce human error because it's going to be scored in that system automatically. It's going to really eliminate any kind of mishaps or if you don't quite know what it says, or it's going to eliminate all of that. So that's a really great feature of the online platform. Another really great thing about this online system is that its automated feature can generate reminders, reports, and much more with just a couple clicks. So it can analyze that data and it can give you the results in seconds instead of course, it's not really too time consuming to score it, but compared to, 10 or so minutes, 2 seconds, that's a good amount of time being saved that you can use on, of course, I know you have many other things that you can use those minutes to do. So that's a really great thing. And of all these things are definitely great, but when I was in the training, I wanted to know, well, so do practices really use it? Because I know that would be a question that a lot of you are going to ask, like, I know, you can buy or you can subscribe to it, but is it really used? And the answer is yes. In a training that I took with the ASQ provider, I asked about this online tool, and it was a resounding yes, that it's really used, and people who use it or practices that use it, they really enjoy it for the ability for parents, caregivers to access it online. In fact, 90% of the providers retained it after a year. So after that 1-year subscription, I asked, well, are they continuing with it? Or are they like, okay, we did it for a year, now we're done? And they said about 90%, which is really good. So yet again, if you want to go up and take a look at it, use that QR code to do so, and you can get a better look for yourself to see if this is something that interests you. So what would this actually look like in your practice? So we've seen what it looks like in paper form, but let's take a look at, so this is just like a quick image of some of the graphics that you might see when you log into the ASQ online platform. And so what is it going to look like? With this tool, parents and caregivers can complete the online questionnaire before they arrive, and the information will be automatically uploaded to the system, to the portal. So there's no like guesswork in it. It goes straight from parent caregiver to the system. So your front office staff or whoever is going to be working with that information has it in a very fast and very clear way. The parents and caregivers can also complete the questionnaire on their phones in the waiting room as well. So if they don't complete it before, they can also do it right when they arrive, and it's still going to take a little bit less time than to do it paper screener or manually score it as well. Okay, and as previously mentioned, the ASQ-3 provides screening management beginning from the questionnaire. That front office staff really don't need to input too much. They'll input, some of those dates for for children to come back and to have their next visits, but everything else is kind of already generated for them, which is really, really great and a great time saving for everyone involved. So what does it look like to implement it? It can be implemented in the 3 steps like we took a look at earlier, or we can do 6 steps. So for 6 steps, it's pretty much 3, but with a little bit of extra detail. So the first one would be, of course, to do that pre-work and to identify which screener for the child. So either you put that date of birth in and it'll pop up on the site, or you can, of course, you can go in and you can send it to the family manually, whichever you choose to do. And then that family member or that caregiver will complete it online, just like the paper form. So they'll go in, they'll complete it. And then when they're done, it goes automatically just in seconds to the front office staff or whoever is going to be managing the system. And then step 4 is that it's going to very quickly score it. So once that parent or caregiver presses submit, it's going to be scored in a matter of seconds, and then it's going to come to you scored with all of the domains scored, with all of the notes, the analysis, all of that's going to be prepared for you. So then we're going to go to step 5, which is the same in paper or online version. And that's where we're going to share the results. So of course, the online system is great, but it's not going to share any results verbally or anything like that with a family. So that's where we're going to still need to make sure that that physician, nurse practitioner has the information, so it can just be printed out and given to them so they can review it with the families. And step 6, which is pretty much like step 3, part B, would be to give those parents and caregivers referral advice and just kind of overall next steps after they received their results. And you can see here, I put on here just a couple of little images of what some of what some of the graphics look like when you log in. And on the site, it gives a ton of information. You can do so many things on there that would take much longer to do if you were just doing it by hand. So a really, really great way to save time. And lastly, we have here just some quick resources for you all. We know that it could be time consuming and to train everybody and to make sure everybody is well versed in all of the ASQ-3 steps and stages, but we want you to make sure that you know that we're here to help you with anything that you might have related to it. As a developmental screening coordinator, I'm here to assist with trainings, technical assistance, and to answer any questions that you might have. And additionally, here at the Bureau of Family Health, on our website, you can find the Developmental Screening Toolkit, which is a step-by-step process that will show you and your practice and all of your team exactly how to implement this screening based on the team that you have, the screeners that you are going to give or are currently giving, and how those can be incorporated into your already existing practices. On there, you'll also find a link for resources, and on that link for resources, you'll be able to click on some tip sheets and some referral guides to help you with existing screeners and also any future screenings that you want to implement. Another resource we have here is the actual Ages and Stages website, and they have tons of different links to resources that are free of charge and some that do cost, carry a cost. I had a question, I believe one of the questions was, is there a cost associated with the Ages and Stages questionnaire? And there is a cost associated with it. You can find all the different costs on their website. They start out with just the questionnaires themselves in English or Spanish or whichever language, and it goes all the way up to complete kits that you can buy for your practice that will give you all of the resources, handouts for families, printouts, charts, different workbooks and learning strategies and things to give to parents when they ask for, other exercises. What can they do to help their child in specific areas? Tons of things. So you can find all of that under the resources at the Ages and Stages website as well. And if you are interested in any of these, please feel free to click on the websites, the links, and to also send me an email. I'm happy to help. I can respond to any of your questions using either of these emails that you'll find at the bottom of our screen. And I hope that if this has piqued your interest and you want to get a little bit more practice, that all of you come out to the Ages and Stages questionnaire 3rd edition scoring practice session that we're going to have on July 27th at 1 p.m. So just to get kind of more familiar with scoring it manually and also just kind of the process, we're going to have a couple minutes there, about 30 minutes or so, to go over different scenarios and things on how to score and administer that ASQ-3. So I'll take a look here to see if I have any questions in the chat. Let's see. Back here. Yes, the first question is, am I going to be sending a copy of this presentation? Yes, I can send that out to everyone. On the in-between months, can you tell me if Medicaid will still pay for the screening? Yes. I know this is not the webinar for this, but where can you find the MChat? So the MChat is free of charge and it can be downloaded. And I can send you the website for that as well. I think, let me check the Q&A section here. Oh, and no other questions. So if y'all don't have any further questions, I believe I answered all that we're seeing there. I will be sending out, I can send out the slides for this webinar as well. And if you are interested in receiving CE or CME credit for this, please just make sure to fill out the survey at the conclusion of our webinar, and we'll be getting out a certificate to you in just a couple weeks. I want to thank everybody so much for coming out on your lunch break, and I hope to see you guys back on July 27th, and hope that everybody has a great rest of their week. Thanks so much for coming. Have a wonderful day. Oh, you're very welcome. Thanks, y'all. Have a good one.